Hello, welcome. This is FIDE Master Vedant Goswami. Today is 6th of April 2023, and today again we are going to see a very interesting game by Anatoly Karpov. In this game, he is black. The game was played in the World Under 20 Chess Championship in Stockholm in 1969. A very powerful game, game which demonstrates certain basic uh, certain basic rules of the game, particularly uh, about the regular development of new pieces and uh, simple stuff. So let us see how it goes. And in this game, Karpov is playing black, and his opponent is Juergen Juhnke. And let us see how it goes. So e4, e5, Nf3 Nc6, the Ruy Lopez, a6 bishop a4, Nf6, d4. So this is kind of slightly unusual, kind of used as a gambit. Usual would be white castling, bringing the rook to e1 and continuing development with c3, and d4, typical Ruy Lopez stuff. A into d4 and castles. So white is offering a pawn on e4, and of course it won't be prudent for black to capture it because immediately invites the pin, and black does get into some tactical difficulties. So again, it is prudent not to capture everything on offer, and before you capture anything, we have to see whether it is actually free or it is a trap. Bishop e7, Karpov does something which is very important, which is continued development. And by putting the bishop on e7, he also does block the e file, and now ne4 can be a threat because after knight into e4 and rook e1, knight can simply move away because the pin is no longer there. So black is now threatening the capture of the pawn on e4. White plays e5, and the knight jumps to e4. And the idea is that, once it is pushed around from here, knight can further gain some tempi and maybe go to knight c5 and at some point also to e6 as and when required. Okay, so knight into d4 and Karpov castle. So a lot of time I see a lot of beginners, they simply make captures for no reason at all. So if it is a capture, they will make it. But no, that is usually not right. And since we see the knight on c6 is not under a threat because it is already supported twice with 2 pawns, there's no need to respond to the opponent. You should not respond to every move of the opponent unless it is a threat. So Karpov does castle and continues development, which is what good players do. They continue development. They bring all the pieces into the game. And this can't be said enough times because this is the basic mistake which happens in game of particularly beginners, because they develop 2 pieces and then they keep playing with them until they both are dead, and then only the new pieces come, and also they meet similar fates. So knight f5. So white is jumping around with the pieces which are already developed while slightly ignoring his own development. Black plays d5. Black plays very simple chess. He continues development of his pieces and not worried about individual exchanges. So bishop into c6, pawn into c6, knight into e7, queen into e7. So if we see this position, so white had moved the knight a few times. That also represents a loss of time. And if you see, already black's position is slightly better developed. Okay, black has 2 pieces which have been developed, and white has almost none. Okay, so already because of some dubious moves by white, which involved moving the same piece multiple times, black has some sort of advantage in development. Rook e1, and yeah, of course, the idea is if black plays queen into e5, f3 wins the knight on the spot. Of course, Karpov sees that and plays rook e8, continuing his development and also planning his next maneuver. After f3, plays nd6, and his idea is to regroup the knight to f5, where it can be near to the white king, and as per opportunities, as per the movement of the game, can create some direct threats in conjunction with some other pieces. So white plays b3 and knight f5, bishop a3. Now again, this is a typical one move attack, which is specific to beginners. So you attack a piece, and that is a single attack. So the pieces, they have the ability to move. They will simply move away. So I keep telling to all my students that you have to hold on to an attack or an opportunity until you have the opportunity to attack two things at a time. And if you do that, if you can develop your willpower to hold on until you get an opportunity to do a double attack, that will represent a great leap in your game. So queen g5. So in this case, we see white attacked the black queen and did not accomplish anything. And on the other side, black actually got an opportunity to bring the queen to a much more aggressive position, where now it has opportunities to create threats against the king. Okay, so white plays bishop b2, and Karpov plays the very logical knight h4, creating a single move checkmate threat against the white king. His opponent plays queen e2, and this game is such a good example of power play. With each move, black advances the position. With each move, black is able to use his slight advantage in development to create additional threats. And giving no respite to the opponent, Karpov plays f6, immediately creating a threat and pressure on the e5, which cannot capture on f6 because of the pin. Moving the pawn would mean losing the queen. Queen f2, and Karpov continues with bishop h3. A very powerful move. And here his opponent played g4, and Karpov simply won a pawn with fe5. So this is now almost a lost position. Of course, we can see that white king is under great attack. His pawn shield has been moved and is weak, particularly the pawn on f3. And there are so many threats against the white king, and not even counting the fact that he has lost a pawn. And his opponent played knight d2. Okay, and yeah, of course, at this point, you can spend a quick few seconds to see what was the winning continuation played by Karpov, and it was a very simple queen into d2, and black simply picks up the extra piece, and with that, the game. So a very simple and good example of a power play by Karpov, a very instructive game. Black did a few things right, particularly in that he continuously developed new pieces whenever the opportunity presented, and he continued putting pressure on the weak points without giving any respite to the opponent. So a very instructive game, and particularly, again, I will stress in terms of how you should keep on developing your position. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the game, and you found it instructive, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.